Hello, welcome to Arun in Denmark podcast. This podcast is for foreigners living in Denmark. Today I have with me Madhura. Madhura is from India and we will be talking about a lot of topics today. Madhura, welcome to the show.
Hello, hi everyone.
Yeah,
Hello,
Madhura,
Arun.
yeah, nice. So this podcast we will talk about two major segments. The first segment would be why did you choose to move to Denmark, and then we will talk about your life being an expat in Denmark. And before all that, could you give us a short little introduction about yourself?
Of course, yes. So, hi everyone, and hello, Arun. I'm Madhura. So, I am in Denmark for past 2 years. I arrived here in April 2022, and so I arrived here not from India actually. So we were in Singapore before we arrived to Denmark, and like some of the participants in your previous podcast, I would say I'm also quite an international citizen. So I worked for some years in Dubai, so part of Middle East, then in Singapore, and then I had a brief career break due to COVID, maternity, personal commitments, and then there's relocation to Denmark. So actually, I'm here in Denmark as a trailing spouse. So my husband, he works for a company here. He was on a relocation from Singapore. So yeah, that's the reason I'm here. And
Cool.
I'm a mother to a toddler. So that's
Okay.
also a major part of my life now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Uh, Quick question regarding you are trailing spouse, which means that you could also find opportunities to work in Denmark.
Work.
What were you doing before moving to Denmark in Singapore or in Middle East?
Yeah, so primarily my career started as an aircraft technician with Lufthansa Airlines in Dubai. So that was the start of my career. I worked for around 9 years in Dubai for Lufthansa, and I relocated due to, marriage and to join my spouse in Singapore. So he was there for quite some time as well, and I joined the same firm in Singapore until I was expecting. And being an engineer, it was a physically daunting task. So we used to have shifts while working at the airport, and so my maternity and shift patterns, it didn't quite go well, and this is why I decided to take a break. So and then, tada, there was COVID. And yeah, during COVID, it was like I am on a break, but I don't know if aviation will start as before and what would be the difficulties when it starts. So I thought of pursuing higher studies, and during my career break and COVID, I pursued higher studies in business, which was also one of my passion when I started. So I did masters in business with
Okay.
strategy as specialization. Yeah.
Tell me
So
about
yes.
your decision to pursue masters. Is it because you weren't really finding opportunities within aircraft in Denmark? Is that the reason?
No, I was pursuing my masters even before I arrived to Denmark. So I started pursuing my
Okay.
masters when my child was born, and
Okay.
I was, taking care of him. And as well, there was a strict lockdown in Singapore, so we were not supposed to go out, and it was quite affected, like more than any other part of the world, because of its proximity to China, and yeah. So there were a lot of cases. So because we were locked in anyways, majority of my time was going in childcare. I also thought I should think about what I'm going to do after this break, and this is why I thought masters. But there was no, like I couldn't see forecast the future for aviation then because of this lockdown when there was no travel at all. So I decided to do something, to broaden my horizon. So when
Yeah.
I come out of that break, I have more opportunities.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started actually in Singapore with on-site, on-campus, and then when the COVID was like on and off with the different kind of variants coming in, so then they moved it to distance learning.
Okay, so you were
So
able to
that
pursue from Denmark
yeah, and
online.
this was actually in my favor. So when we decided to relocate to Denmark, it was nice. I was also coming closer to UK. The university where I graduated is a UK base, so I had an option to graduate from London.
Okay.
So that is what I opted, and yeah, until last year, I completed my graduation in July last year. So, yes, I was in the transition when I moved to Denmark.
Have you ever thought when taking the masters that you would actually come to Denmark at that point
No,
in Singapore? Okay, so it was
no, no,
actually
no. Yeah,
surprise. Okay.
yeah, it was actually surprise. So when I started, I was also looking for jobs in aviation, and then I was talking to some peers. I had some contacts in the field, and they suggested, yeah, why not? I was already, working in this. Area where I was also taking care of some changes in the field in aviation maintenance and some restructuring. And yeah, some of my peers they suggested, why don't you study strategy? You can use your experience and then have this academic qualification to support that. And yeah, that was my actually decision. So I was lucky enough to have great mentors in my life.
Yeah. So now that you have been in Denmark for 2 years and you successfully finished or defended your masters,
Yeah.
what is the next step that you're looking in Denmark? How do you see the job market or based on the qualification you have right now?
So yeah, when I actually completed my master's, while I was working on my research and dissertation, I was also talking to the people who are pursuing masters here with CBS, and I was going to networking events and all, and I saw it's a competitive market. So it's not just that you are masters and you have some previous experience and you will get the job here. So you really have to work hard for it because there are many others who are also striving to find a opportunity here. So when I graduated, actually, I shifted my total focus on my branding. So networking with people, uh, joining various events, networking events, various clubs, finding that niche, and also I realized just masters in strategy is not enough because most of the strategic roles are C type, like executives in the
C level
business,
executive
C-level
operations.
executives, and you require Danish to
Ah,
go to
okay.
reach there, because it's a core unit of that firm. So it's
Okay.
always beneficial to know Danish. So until I really get a proficient level of Danish language, I thought, okay, why not adjust to the market and learn something more, upskill myself, and I chose sustainability
Okay.
because I always was fond of corporate sustainability, like how the firms, you read their annual reports and they talk about sustainability, and especially this part of the world is more aware than rest of the part about the climate action and the responsibility towards the environment, people. And this is why I upskilled myself. So past around 8 months, that's what I've been doing, upskilling myself, connecting with the people who are in this field, uh, going to networking events, attending these company events where open houses where they talk to you about their business units and give you more information. So this is quite beneficial.
What inspires, sorry, apologies. What inspires me listening to your story is that you haven't really wasted any of your time when you came in, and that's impressive, because a lot of people spend energy thinking about not able to fit into the job market, and they usually, time fizzles out, and especially if, when you're a parent, you have a lot of other commitments as well. And I think you are really active, both in social circles, but I also been following you in LinkedIn, where I see a lot
Yeah,
of these things that you share in LinkedIn, your accomplishments, taking courses. Apart from whatever courses you have mentioned on the podcast here, I've also seen you finish some of the certificates
yeah,
externally. So that takes a lot of energy, and I could imagine. When I'm single, I could spend entire time to me and my own personal development, but there comes a point where you have to balance your family and then also your professional commitments and
yeah.
goals. How do you keep yourself engaged in both these activities? What are the biggest things that you have to challenge? What are the challenges that you foresee here?
Oh, there are always challenges. I will say it's not that you're unemployed that you only have challenges. You can also have challenges when you're employed. So it's just that you have to be positive. And something I've learned, like finding a job or getting a job, it's not in my hand. Like I cannot really pursue the recruiter like, okay, I'm best in this. What I can do from my side, what is in my control is, upskill myself, do my best in my free time. Of course, I also spend more time with my child. I go traveling, which is also one of my greatest passion. The reason I want to earn money.
Of course,
So, yeah,
we all
I think
deserve
most
to
of
that.
us.
To that. Yeah, yeah,
Most
yeah.
of us, yes. So I do all of these things, but yeah, I manage my time in like a certain percentage of my time goes in upskilling and development, continuous improvement in knowing what is happening. And it's quite dynamic a world that we are living in. Every day you have to learn new things, you have to be updated. So yes, this LinkedIn as well, it was not something I was doing before I arrived here. So if you go to
Okay.
Singapore or Dubai, you don't really have to show yourself so much on LinkedIn. Uh, like, some of my friends, they used to say it's not a social media, it's actually an
Okay.
employment platform and stuff like that. But I realized after coming here, it's also one way you connect with people, with companies here. It's not just about showing off what you're doing or what you're knowing, it's also about a way to engage with people. It's also with like-minded professionals, actually. It's also a way, it is also a kind of motivation, when you post something and you get reply and people know, okay, you have a knowledge of something that you're already displaying. It's quite good experience. So I had to learn this, how to do it effectively. It didn't come in first or second post. So yeah,
But saying from my perspective, you are pretty much active, not just being active. You also have a very detailed job. I would say your profile picture is so detailed. I could see that when I looked into your LinkedIn previous experiences. You have detailedly described the roles that you have performed in the aviation
yeah,
industry with Lufthansa, and that takes some time to do that. A lot of effort is put in through, and I agree with you that LinkedIn in Denmark is different from the way they see in rest of
yeah,
the countries, majority of the Middle Eastern countries or Asian countries, because of the fact that some people use LinkedIn only to update the job, or just when they finding new opportunities or updating their current employment. And I don't agree with a lot of people who say that way. But when you see, like you said, your experiences with LinkedIn and sharing and socializing, connecting with people, I think you literally am super active in LinkedIn more than any other social platforms, to be honest.
yeah,
And that is also what I really like doing. Not just spamming people, but I feel like whenever I get new information from someone, I just consume. And those are all
yes,
valuable information that I could learn from, and not just cat videos or memes that I'm laughing at. But it gives me more energy, to be honest, when I see through my feeds of people who are moving things, changing stuff, and sharing their knowledge. There is another feature in LinkedIn that I really like. When I was in my university, I don't have money to actually go and apply for a premium LinkedIn feature, so I actually follow people who have premium. They take up courses and they actually share when they complete a course. You
Yes.
actually get 24 hours of access to the same course that they have taken. And I was very
Absolutely.
prompt in that. I just follow people who finish courses and I get the free course for the entire 24. But I spend at least 2 3 hours skimming through the most important things of that course. Something that I
Yeah.
really feel so, I would say, consuming a lot of these LinkedIn learning opportunities. And I
Yeah.
think it's one of the oldest social media, but it's still it is where actual opportunity to meet CEOs or your fellow colleagues. Before
Absolutely.
moving to a company, you actually can know what the company culture is or values are and how the people think about their company. And it's better than Naukri.com or Indeed, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that is what, like, we are in the world of technology where, you have so many platforms, a lot of data. You should just know how to use it for your benefit and not misuse it. So I feel, I mean, that is a platform where you can reach these people who, in practical, you don't think you can meet them, like, because I'm in the field of sustainability, I have these mentors from, the regulation body, from European Union, from so many other companies, and at a very higher senior roles, and they post, so they really post such great information, which these courses that I take will not teach you,
Very important.
the practical use of the knowledge, and the way they put themselves, like, frankly speaking, before I was so engaged on LinkedIn, I was not so confident with my communication and the way to present myself and stuff like that. So I've been following these people. I've been reading about them. I've been most of them also post videos, with the topics that I'm interested in. So somewhat it gives you great knowledge as well as exposure,
Exactly.
and yeah, I mean, it's irreplaceable. So
You
you just
rightly
should
pointed
just know
out about the
how to
exposure
use it.
part, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the beauty is, like you pointed out, people with experiences share informations with facts, but you get both, right? Experiences from experienced professional, and then also the theoretical part of it, and which you don't get in an academia. Such you say,
Absolutely.
you have to
Yeah.
invite people as guest lecturers to actually give such information. That is very smart of you that you think
Yeah.
that way. Um,
Yeah.
coming back to the course, the specialization that you do about sustainability, walk us through to all the audiences listening. They can be spouses, they can also be students who are aspiring to do masters.
Yeah.
How is the landscape, sustainability landscape in Denmark, and what motivated you to do to a specialization in that particular niche?
Yeah. So I think this responsibility about sustainability, it was always there in most of the fields and individuals. Like, in the industry and manufacturing units, they started working agile and lean practices and stuff, and optimization of resources, optimization of processes. So this was also kind of, to avoid any waste, to refine the processes that we were working with. So but now that I am in this part of the world where sustainability is quite old, a place where it all started, where the responsible business, responsibility as an individual started, it is really great to have so much knowledge about it here. So the reason I chose my specialization for upskilling in this topic was the immense resources that you have on this part of your leverage, to why not. At the same time, it is quite competitive now that I'm really diving into it. But to navigate that, most important thing is to have continuous learning experiences, to stay relevant, to stay updated with requirements in this field. So I have learned about sustainability a lot in my master's during strategic topics of business. Yeah. So, like I said, it's quite a relevant topic for a current job market. So that is also one thing I feel everyone should understand when you are in a new country, new job market. What is relevant and what is something that can give you more opportunities and more, focus. In the market. So that is what I did. This is why I chose sustainability, and I had to upskill a lot. So I started with the standard frameworks, and then I also attended so many seminars, webinars, live, online, on the topic to gain more knowledge practically, because this was a transition field for me. This is a transition field for me from engineering to here. Of course, there are a lot of learnings from my previous experience that I bring for the current topic as well. But however, I have no experience in the corporate world. So this is why I met so many C-level executives. I met sustainability heads with 10, 12 years of experience. And yeah, that is most important, what I have seen in Denmark. And also another thing is Denmark really gives you great opportunities to connect to people, network. All these firms, they have so many open house events for the students, for the professionals. And then there are some non-profit organizations like PWN and Toastmasters. There's so many things you can do. So I feel that is what I've been doing for past 8 months,
But these
and
but
it's
these
helping.
forums, yeah, okay. But these forums, is it all published somewhere that people could see, or is it only for certain audiences, or do you follow particular channels or groups that you're part of that is only available to some closed connections? How does it work?
That is what I said, right? On LinkedIn, you just posting things and talking about yourself is not important. Connecting with like-minded people, from the people who are in the field, who are experts, at the same time who are also starting like you, so they can share some experiences with you. So following these companies you really want to work with. These companies, when you follow, you see all the events that they have lined up. Then you also follow universities. So universities most of the time also post these information for their own students, and then you can also see this. Then you also can go through Eventbrite. There are other websites, meetups
Meetups,
also
exactly.
provide such information. So, yeah, I mean, you really have to do the hard work to get a job here. And I think that's justified because, that also gives you more in-depth understanding of the employment environment. Like, you and me, we come from India, a very competitive world. Like from our childhood, we are told you really have to show off your skills, you really have to work really hard to achieve something. And it's not easy to achieve something
Yeah,
without any effort. And then you
absolutely.
come to Denmark, and where people don't expect you to really work hard. So I did so many of these interviews, and they asked me, so what is your passion? And if I tell them my passion is, to become a strategy manager or become a sustainability consultant, they're like, what is your passion? So these kind of understanding of social differences, cultural differences, you only get when you really dive into the atmosphere. So also, most of the people I've seen make a mistake of connecting or networking with people who are exploring jobs or who are finding jobs. Like, you know, they make teams and they make groups. So, I mean, you are in the same boat. You cannot help each other. You know, we are going through the same rat race. So, you actually should connect with the people who are in the industry, who can give you more understanding of the environment and help you change your thinking.
What is your experiences with? Have you tried cold messaging people about opportunities before? Does it work
Yeah,
in Denmark?
I would say 50-50. So I have had great experiences, like really helpful people at a very higher management positions who have engaged and who have talked to me, who have also met me via coffee, meetups. Uh, and there are some who really didn't like me messaging them on LinkedIn. So I would say, and also I'll say the approach. How you are approaching a person also matters. So
Exactly.
initially, I used to just write, okay, this is my qualification, and I would like to meet up, and no responses at all. You should also, engage in a way the other person finds interest in you,
That I
is
think I
what I would
agree
say.
with that.
Yeah.
And I also want to reflect my perspective on that. When I was looking for jobs internally, when I was in Denmark, I cold messaged a lot of people, and the response rate was not even 50-50 like you had. It was way more lesser. And I probably realized very late at that point that the way I messaged seemed to be blunt. There was no
Yes.
context. I was just like writing to people who I've never met in before, or never engaged to any of their posts, or so it was my lessons learned. But I also see these days, when I look at all these job openings in LinkedIn, they specifically mention to call to the hiring manager if in case they have any doubts. So there are some people who would really like to talk to people before even applying for the job. That
Yeah.
works on different personalities, as you pointed out. Person
Yeah.
to person it varies, but also, and those are the people I really like to work with also, because sentimentally I have this feeling that if it works with the hiring manager, then
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a process of other steps or progresses. It's just a formality, right? And
Yeah.
I whenever people reach out to me for jobs, they share the LinkedIn job pages, and I actually read them. If it is in Danish, then I tell the candidate who's applying for the job, it's already expected that you know Danish. And if you think that you can
Absolutely.
promise to actually learn Danish, which is very, very nice of you, but have a call with the hiring manager. Just let them know that you're looking for this opportunity. And I think the reason why I asked you about cold calling is it works to a greater extent. And from your experiences, I could also vouch and say
Yeah.
it depends on how you message and context, and giving them some context before messaging. Uh, so now that you
Yeah,
are
I
in a
mean,
stage, yeah, let's
yeah.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, initially I really found this frustrating that I'm messaging them and I'm not getting any reply. But actually, as I understood the way Danish culture works and the employment culture here is, they are going to free a time of their, family time outside work hours in meeting you, or maybe sending you a reply. It should be worth it, right? So, I mean, it's very important that you make best impression. Like you write something that would talk more than just, I'm looking for this job and you're hiring for this position. Let us talk or meet up. So I think that is justified. I mean, and that everyone should understand, this space. And also about the hiring managers providing information on the job descriptions. So initially, same thing, like the culture that we come from, it's very different, how we approach these situations. So it took some time for me as well to learn the process. But most of the hiring managers told me that when we mention this, this is in case you have any difficulty applying, or in case you have some you want some in between information. So okay, they have mentioned a Danish requirement, but also they have mentioned that they are flexible, or something like this, like some questions which are not clear and you would like to clarify. Please, use the number to call the person only in that case, not just call and I want to apply and can you consider. So then they say that we have an official portal and please apply on the official portal.
And based on your experiences, knowing people by networking, does referral work in Denmark? How do you see that referral system in Denmark?
I mean, I've not yet had any experience in that matter. So, I met a lady at an event, and I asked her, like, I have applied to your firm and on this position, and I gave some background. And she was very helpful, and she provided the information about the team and how they work with. And she happened to, also have a, she was working in the process that connects to the team. So she had some knowledge. But what she said is, when you ask me for referral, how well do I know you that I should refer you to this job
Yeah,
role or this?
true.
Okay, you have passed the first round, and then maybe you need to have some more information, and it's getting delayed. Okay, there I can help you. I can talk to the manager and ask, check what's the status. Uh, and Yeah, this was very direct
It seems
reaction,
to be a
but
direct reaction, but I guess she has a point as well. and
yes,
and and
yes,
I and I think it's true that people, even if it was my own sister, I would think twice and say if the job fits my sister based on her
yeah,
qualifications and the personality, right? Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, but that gives me an impression about because a lot of DMs that I get in LinkedIn, often people ask me for referrals because I post something about a job opportunity. They think that they could add my name as a referral, but in reality, like the person you got response from, I think the same goes from my end. That I don't, if I don't know any person, how can I be responsible for them, or how can I even be a middleman to help each other, right? It
yeah.
becomes an unfortunate situation for me, or
Yeah, and
I
also
feel.
this is a fair way of, fair way of hiring a person, if you ask me. Just because you know someone doesn't make that person a right fit to the job role.
True,
So
true.
this is quite fair, if you ask me. And yeah, but it hurts in the first instance. But like I said, you just learn from it, that maybe you present yourself better. And yeah, face-to-face networking helps a lot. So when you attend these open houses for the companies, you often meet the HR. Um, so you talk to them, you engage in a conversation that when you actually message them on LinkedIn, they know, okay, I have met this person and she was quite impressive when I talked to her. So that can also be a start point there.
I think you covered literally a lot of topics about how to approach opportunities in LinkedIn. How do you leverage the power of LinkedIn? And
Yeah.
before we wind up, I would like to know your advice to newcomers 2 years before, if someone is going to be in a position like you are. What would be your first advice to those expats or students who are moving to Denmark, being a foreigner in Denmark?
I mean, connect with people before you even arrive here, because I've had a bit of bad experience or sour experience when I initially come came here, and I thought if I had someone to guide me a bit in the beginning, maybe I would be in a better position. So I would say, before you arrive here, connect. There are so many helping groups on Facebook. There are groups on LinkedIn for the expats in Denmark. So connect with them, ask them for their experiences or any relevant questions that you have. Secondly, after you arrive, give yourself a time to adjust to the social and cultural differences. Network, and yeah, work on your LinkedIn. Yeah, upskill where required.
Yeah, true. And I guess my experiences when I was looking for new opportunities, I also feel like it feels like I'm in a country where some of the jobs require language as one of the more core competencies,
Yeah,
and I know for a fact that I was not competent enough in Danish, but I still managed to, let's say, when I speak to a lot of people in forums and all these networking opportunities, I realized if the person who is going to hire you or if the person who works with you knows you, then sometimes it's a process where you will still have to learn Danish, but it shouldn't be a factor that delimits you for the job. And that
Yeah.
that is always a really tricky position, because some people, they openly say, oh yeah, we don't see you fit into the company because we need Danish languages core competencies. And in some jobs, the team is completely Danish, even though they work on international projects. So there are two ways of working, right? My job, when I used to
Yeah.
work in the previous company, they had documents in Danish, even though we work with expats, we work with internationals, and that is a requirement that you indirectly need to know Danish. And some other projects, they are all English documentations, but the people who work are Danish, and they communicate in Danish in any meetings. And it puts expats into a situation where you more or less need to have the skill to be able to validate yourself that you are fit
Yeah.
to this tribe or something.
Yeah.
What's your reflection on this?
Yeah, I've had the same experience. Like I started Danish as soon as I landed here.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because I've been, I like to learn languages. So
Okay.
in my previous firm, while working, I was learning German. In my free time in Singapore, while taking care of my child, I was learning French. So I
My
had
God.
started. I finished A level. So I started in Denmark as well, but this free option that we have, like by paying the deposit with the commune, it requires great commitment,
True.
which I could not give while taking care of my child because it was quite new environment for him, adjusting to new school
Yeah.
and learning Danish and everything. So, because my husband is on a full-time job,
Yeah.
somewhat I had to fit in there for those responsibilities. And also, I was pursuing my master's, and I was in the research phase, so it required lot of time in doing my research. So I could not give the commitment, that was required for the learning experience, and I had to stop it in between. So I cleared my two modules, and yeah, I had to take a break. So I
No.
don't know. It's been a tough journey with Danish, but one thing I know, it's quite international environment in Denmark now that I see, uh, especially in this new generation that we are living in. So most of the companies, they are not so hard on Danish,
Okay.
but like you said, still most of the legislation, most of the paperwork is in Danish. So if you are looking for a role and if you are looking for a long-term role at a good firm here, why not? It's also one way, you really connect with the people here. So yeah, but
But
at
it
own
shouldn't be a
pace. Yeah.
burden, like you mentioned. It shouldn't be an added responsibility, because I know the feeling of actually going through the
Yeah.
grind. Because in a week you spend at least 3 hours during
Yeah.
the class, and then you have to prepare for the activities or homework, whatever you will receive. And it's a 2 3 years commitment. It's not just like in 1 year you can figure out, because you
Absolutely.
have other activities, right? And on top of that, if you're in a company, there are people who are working in companies and still struggling to learn Danish. And most of the time I often hear the sentence saying, oh, everybody switches to English because then they feel like I'm struggling to learn Danish. And
Yeah.
I could relate to all of these examples in my organization. But that is a
Yeah.
huge commitment, like you mentioned. It's also energy, and with the family, there has to be some reformations that should we expect as expats, to say, hey, is it really really required to have Danish as one of the requirements, or is it something that an organization can help the employees when they onboard and say, this job requires certain level of Danish, but we are there to support you. Could we find a balance? And that could
Absolutely.
be my request to Danish organizations who are looking for candidates, international candidates.
Yeah.
Madhura, thank you so much for your time. I think we discussed a lot of topics, from moving from another country to finding education program, networking with people, socializing, trying to find a lot of connections through LinkedIn, and tips and tricks for expats looking for jobs. It has been an amazing time with you, and I think it was immense pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much, Madhura, again.
Yeah, pleasure is all mine, and I hope people benefit from this talk. So thank you for this great initiative, and yeah, all the
Yeah.
best to everyone who's listening, and all the best to me as well.
Yeah, of course. For
Yeah.
the listeners on the other side listening to the podcast, sign in or subscribe to my channel to know more about these stories, to get to know more about life as a foreigner in Denmark. Thank you for the listening and have a good one. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.